Hi, kindergarten families. It's Miss Hannah.
And Miss Kim.
Miss April?
Miss Joni.
Miss Melanie.
Annie.
We know that shelter in place has certainly been an adjustment for all of us, and school is looking a lot different these days. We also know you have a lot on your plate, balancing family, work, and now your new role as a teacher at home. From the feedback we've gotten from families, we realized there are a lot of common questions about how you can support your child during school at home. So we wanted to make this video to address some of those questions. Today, we will do a website walkthrough of our school at home website. We'll talk about some of the school at home expectations and guidelines. We'll go over the kindergarten report card and standards, and we'll offer some suggestions on how to help your child with reading, writing, and math. And we'll look ahead to first grade and how you can help your child prepare for that. So, part one, the website walkthrough. We designed the school at home website to offer many ways to support your child, whether it be the daily video lessons, the read aloud videos, the activities on the weekly menu, or just some of the apps and resources that you can find on there. We also wanted to find ways for you to stay connected to your kindergarten friends and teachers. I'm going to switch now to share my screen and show you our school at home website, and I'll tell you a little bit about how to use it. Let me switch to the home page. All right, this is our Welcome to School at Home. Always on our School at Home homepage, you will find a daily video. And there's lots of great lessons on here that you can watch again and again. And there is an archive section that Miss Melanie will talk about later. But there's always a new daily video on Tuesday through Friday. Each week there's a new weekly menu, and this is a great spot to look if you want some extra ideas for reading, for phonics or word study, for writing, for math, and now we've recently added a social emotional learning column too if you'd like some ideas to check out for that. It's organized by subject matter, so it's pretty easy to take a peek at, and remember that you can go back to old menus and do these activities again and again. If you scroll under the learning menu, you will find past weekly menus. It's a drop down, so you need to click on it and it will show you all of our past weekly menus. So take a look there if you're looking for some ideas. Under that, we have a brand new poem of the week each week. We post the poem, we post an audio clip, and we post some ideas for things that you can do with the poem. If you scroll back up where you saw the past weekly menus, we also have a drop down menu for the past poems. There they are. You can click right on them to find them, and you can either print them out, you can write them out, or you could start a poem journal even and put your poems in there. The next tab I want to show you, right next to the Home tab, we also have a For Kids tab. If you click on that, you will see lots of things that kids can do all on their own. The first thing you'll see is the robot. That's Raz Kids and HeadSprout, a great program for some phonics or reading practice and comprehension practice. Right next to that is Dreambox, and that's a really great math program that we've used at school. Both of these need a login, and if you're not sure what your child's login information is, you can get in touch with your child's teacher and we'll let you know. Go Noodle has lots of fun music and movement activities. Lunch Doodles is a little bit of drawing practice, and Mystery Science or Mystery Doug has a lot of great science activities. It's got videos, it's got follow-up activities. And since we don't have science on our weekly menu, that's a great place to check out and find some fun science things to do. Right underneath that, you will see some PE links from our fabulous PE teachers in Albany. There's a bunch of different things that they found for you, so go ahead and click on those links to access that. We have a library corner from Ms. Stanton and Mr. Ray. And we also have updates, different books each week that Ms. Stanton recommends that you can click on. There's some pretty great read alouds. And Jingle Jeff has a music corner. If you click on the music corner, the drop-down menu comes down. You'll see his website, information about his Zoom music class, And then he usually has a weekly video that you can check out. And of course, as you can see down here, Cornell teachers, I'll miss you. The final tab I want to talk about is our new Read Aloud tab. On the Read Aloud tab, there's any stories that we've done in our daily videos will also be posted here, and some of the Read Alouds are just for fun. The new videos will always appear at the top, but you can scroll down to see any of the old ones that we've posted. And these also you can watch again and again and again and just enjoy. I'm going to hand it over now to Miss Melanie, who's going to keep touring you around our website.
Thanks so much, Miss Hannah. So I'm going to do the second part of our website. So I'm going to share my screen right here. Get that open. Okay. All right. All right, so after the read aloud section is the for adults. And this section is truly for all the parents out there and caregivers. So I'm gonna walk you through this page. At the top, you'll see our own Miss Annie here giving a kind of walkthrough on how to make a daily menu with your child and a daily schedule, because those schedules are really important right now to give the kids a sense of continuity and routine and security in these kind of unsettling times. There's an article that Miss Annie wrote here that gives a lot of practical guidance and advice and reassurance for all that we're doing with our families and kids right now. As I scroll down, there's more resources here. So under our reading tab, there is information for how to do that shared 20 minutes of reading with your child, questions to ask. There's the Head Sprouts and the Raz Kids login. Again, you'll see the library website is there. If I go back up the other sections in the writing tab, you'll see some writing prompts as well as a template for writing that you could print out. You can always just use your own paper. The math, there's Dreambox is right there again. And then I just want to highlight the science a little bit, because here we've got Mystery Doug, who's fabulous, and he does weekly lessons. And then there's a bunch of virtual field trips. And these are amazing. You can go with your kids and explore the Grand Canyon and feel like a bird from above, or you can go on an African safari and see the wildlife there. And also the Bay Area Children's Museum has got a great activities such as playing with light and shadow and making shadow puppets. Lots of fun stuff that you can do at home. And I highly recommend using this section and these additional resources for like Mondays when you're looking for maybe something else to do, all what works for you. We've got our PE and movement, and there's two AUSD PE website. We've got the general Albany Unified School District PE website, and then our very own Coach Joel has put together a wonderful website, and he even uses his kids as his actors. And then down here we've got the visual performing arts and others. You'll find Jingle Jeff again, the second step videos, which we've done some daily lessons for. There's songs and extension activities, cooking, more drawing activities. And then down here, in general, just some more information for you about maybe how to choose movies to watch for movie night, and some other great places to go if you're looking for more packets and resources and games for your kids to play online that are educational and fun. Down at the bottom, there's a community corner, which is just a place to look for resources that maybe you need or that you want to share with others. And right here, there is Albany USD is doing a virtual food drive where they're collecting money to raise for the Alameda County Food Bank. And if you or anyone else you know needs access to a food pantry, down here, there's a PDF that will give you more information about options in the East Bay. Okay, and then moving on to the past lesson videos. I just want to highlight, oh, I'm sorry. Is that opening for you guys? Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. The past lesson videos. We just want to encourage you to go back again and again if you've missed a lesson and you're looking for something fun to do, or maybe you really liked a math game and you want to play it again. In kindergarten, we play games over and over again and we extend the content. So you could play Bang again, and in Bang, you could add the new snap words each week. Or maybe you want to play Spiral or Trash and try doing teen numbers with those games. So we just want to encourage you to go back when you have a chance, and use these videos, when you need them and when your kids want to go back. All right, and then the last thing that I really want to highlight is we've got these classroom tabs, and on them you'll find information from your own teacher, as well as your kids' snap words that they previously learned. Now we're learning snap words together, but there was a list from before our virtual learning where we had our own words. This is where you can sign up for your Zoom sessions. And probably my favorite thing on these sites is the photo carousels. All the teachers are doing photo carousels where they're showing the work that your kids are doing. They're working hard at home, they're playing, they're creating, they're doing writing, they're doing reading. And this is a great place, both on your child's classroom, and you can look at the other classrooms. Check out room 3, check out room 2, check out room 4 to get some ideas, inspiration, and motivation for your children for things to do, and see what their classmates are doing. Because that's what we're missing out on that. And this is a chance for them to see each other kind of, working hard out there. All right, so those are the things that I wanted to showcase for you. I'm going to pass it over. I'm going to stop my screen share. And I'm going to pass it over to Miss Kim, who's going to talk to you guys a little bit more about expectations during our school at home. Okay, here you go, Miss Kim.
Thanks, Miss Melanie. So I'm going to share some school at home expectations. So now that you've seen the website, you might be wondering, what should I be doing all day? There's so much on the website, I know. The district recommends 30 to 90 minutes of academic time a day for kindergartners. If you're doing a minimum of 30 minutes, you might be doing 20 minutes of book time with your child and maybe 1 or 2 activities. If you are watching the daily video and doing the activity that comes with that, and choosing a column down the weekly menu, doing reading, writing, phonics, math, and social emotional learning, that is more than enough for 90 minutes of meaningful work every day for your child. And really, there's not much more that you have to be doing with your child. There's no need for hours and hours of work in kindergarten, especially given that their attention span varies. But you have to find out what works best for your child and do that. At school, we find that it's helpful to break down their work chunks into about 15 to 20 minutes at a time and give them lots of opportunities to get up and move around, read stories, sing songs, get up and take a snack break. Those are all really important things. So find ways to break up your child's day, and create a schedule if that helps you. At school, it really helps to have a consistent routine so that students come in every day knowing what to expect. But if your child needs to go with the flow, go with the flow. Whatever works for you is fine. Be flexible. Let your child be your guide. Depending on what they're feeling that day, they may be able to focus for a long period of time. They may need to just do a couple activities on certain days, and that's totally fine. And let your child explore their interests and their motivations. Your time at home is a great opportunity to see what your child is interested in and let them kind of take charge. Their interests might take you away from our website, and that's totally fine too. They might find something to explore outside, or they may just want to engineer something with their Lego blocks. Learning happens in so many different places and in so many different ways. Find a way to just redefine what learning means to you during this time. You can cook, play, do games and puzzles, create art, and even doing chores is a great way to learn at home. So open up your definition of learning and find the magic that's around you. There's so much that can happen in playing. They can practice their language skills, critical thinking and problem solving skills, and independence. Play is such an important part in their development. And above all, just give yourself some grace as you create school at home for your child. Every day might look different, and that's okay. But we do hope that every day your child has some time to read, play, and talk. So we recommend at least 20 minutes of reading, whether that's with a grown-up or with a sibling or independently, some time to talk and engage in conversation with others around them, and just time to play, to just be a kid and explore. So I hope that's helpful for you as you create your schedule at home. And I'm going to pass it over to Miss April, who's going to talk a little bit about the report card.
Hi, I will talk to you about the report card and standards. So we've heard from many of you that have been, a lot of you concerned about first grade readiness for your child, and we want to help you understand what your child will need in order to be ready. We do want to assure you that we understand the concerns, and we want to remind you that all of the kindergartners are in the same situation, meaning that they've all missed a quarter of the year in class with each other. So remember that, even though I know it just feels so individual, it's also there's a community here of children around the world that are in the same situation. So make sure to remember that. So I'm going to share a blank copy of the report card and highlight some of the areas that I'd like to focus on. So for under here, the approaches to learning, there are a few standards that really stand out that are really important to keep in mind. And under here, under approaches to learning, following multiple step directions, that's a really key one for kindergartners. That's something we focus on a lot in kindergarten. And remember, when you give your child directions, break it up into 3 or 4 different parts. Don't give them 10 directions at a time. Give them 3 or 4, and then ask them to let you know, to recite back the steps. For example, it's time to get ready for bed. Tell them to put on their pajamas, put their clothes in the hamper, brush their teeth, and then to get in bed. There's 4 steps. Ask them to say, what did I just ask you to do? And have them remember and recite back the 4 steps. Working independently, right here, working independently. Give your child a task, say from the menu, the kindergarten menu, and all the materials necessary. And then once he or she started, tell him or her that you're going to return in about 5 minutes to check on their progress, set a timer, and then come back in and check. And then you'll find how, if your child can only work for 2 minutes at a time without needing extra help, then you can start there and then gradually increase the amount of time. And down here at the bottom here, it says shows persistence. Let your child make mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities to learn. Don't always rush in and fix their problems, but teach your child instead how they can fix the problems for themselves. When they're frustrated because they can't do something, remind them they can't do it yet. If they keep trying and persist, then they will eventually be able to. Under social emotional development, here it says interacts respectfully with adults. Remember that when we return to the classroom, when we return to school, your child will be in contact with many different adults. And it's usually some type of teacher, but there are many teachers your child has. Their classroom teacher, their PE teacher, the librarian, and others as well. Speaking at appropriate times. This is really hard for a lot of us, including your children. But have your child wait. When you're talking and they want to interrupt, ask them to wait. Have them have a signal, have them touch your shoulder or put their hand on your hip, and that lets you know that they have something to say. And when you get to a breaking point, you can stop and turn to them and you can address their needs. Respecting and sharing materials, things like their toys, their crayons, books, all sorts of things. Have them treat them with respect and care. Helps with cleaning up. So that's cleaning up their toys, their clothes, they're making their bed. Give them things to keep them responsible. Interacts respectfully with peers. Now this is interesting because they're not really with their peers right now. Most of them aren't. However, many have siblings, and that can count in the same way. or you can, make sure that they're interacting respectfully with others. So being fair, cooperating, and not dominating always the conversation, the game, that sort of thing. And then here, where is it? Oh, I missed it. It's up here. Having positive self-image. That's really important. Have one way that we do, I know in our family, is that we have our child, or all of us actually, give one compliment to another person every day, and they need to give one compliment to themselves, something that they're doing well, okay, or something that they can appreciate themselves for. That's really important. These are some of the social emotional skills that will help the transition into first grade. But now, down on the report card, we have some academics. So a few, I'm going to highlight a few areas in language arts and math. Reading. Now, reading to and with your child will go a really long way, and it will help your child succeed in first grade and beyond. Knowing the letter names and sounds. Reading high frequency words. Those are what we call the snap words. Using phonetic knowledge to decode simple words. So simple words, when we write simple words, we're talking about what are called CVC words, or consonant, vowel, consonant words. Those are words like run, sat, hen, those kinds of words. Most of the words that we're talking phonetic knowledge in kindergarten, we're talking about the short vowel sounds also. For writing, using phonetic, right here, we're using phonetic knowledge to spell words. So remember, that's what we've spoken in some of the videos about brave spelling. We look for, do they have the beginning, can they write the beginning sound of a word, middle sound of a word, the ending sound of the word. Remember that brave spelling is not the same as adult spelling. It's phonetic, so it's as it sounds. Also here for attempts to follow writing conventions. Spacing is a real key for adults, especially, to be able to understand children writing when we're phonetically sounding out what their writing says. And the reason children write or people write is typically for somebody to understand it. They're communicating. So spacing is really a big focus for us, as well as capitalization, like at the beginning of a sentence, and then punctuation at the end of a sentence. Those are all great things to focus on. Speaking and listening. So that's answering questions about the text, retelling familiar stories, tell the beginning, the middle, the end of the story. So the adults page that you saw on the website, the adults page gives a bunch of prompts and tips for reading with your child. If you go down into math, a lot of this is fairly self-explanatory. Counting to 100 orally, that's a big one that helps them in first grade. Recognizing the numbers to 20. And remember, the teens are tricky. We call them the tricky teens. They're read somewhat backwards from how we read most of the other numbers. And you'll see this in a lot of the activities that we give you with teens. And so that's something really to focus on with your child, is recognizing and actually writing those tricky teens. So the numbers to 20. Representing and solving addition and subtraction problems. So in kindergarten, that doesn't mean pages and pages of addition and subtraction equations. What we're talking about is more real life or story type problems. If we need 3 forks and 3 spoons for dinner, how much silverware do we need all together? So 3 and then 3 more, and they can say, oh, that's 6. Okay, the same with subtraction. We made 4 cookies, we ate 2 of them, how many will we have left, or how many do we have left? That sort of thing. So I want you guys to all be aware that we are holding all of, sorry about that. I want to remind you all that we are holding all of these standards in our heads when we are making the weekly menu for you guys and when we're doing the daily videos. So if you follow those, the menu, then it's not necessary for you to go and figure out what other kinds of activities you could choose to get your child ready for first grade. All right, I'm going to pass it on now to Miss Joni, who's going to talk a little bit more about reading and math. Miss Joni?
Oh, sure. I was wondering if you're going to unshare this.
Sorry, there you go.
There we go. Thank you, Miss April. So I would like to talk to all of you a little bit about how to help. We've been getting emails from some of you just asking us, well, how do I help my child? And I just want to address some of those concerns with you right now. So let's just talk about writing to begin with. Writing is not easy in kindergarten. And as I think about all of the skills that are involved in writing, it's really quite amazing what the brain is doing at the time, because a child is wanting to tell a story. And so they want to make a picture, and then they're learning that they have to, write this with, lines that represent the words that they're trying to say. And they're just learning these letters and the sounds and how they get all put together. So their brain is really working hard. And that's something that I want you to keep in mind when you see your child working on their writing. They are working really hard. So when we say, sound out the words, stretch them out, do what you can, just recognize how hard they're working. I wanted to share with you a really helpful writing page. Whoopsies, I'm having a hard time coming up with it. Here it comes, I hope. Taking a little bit of time, unfortunately. So I have stages of writing that I wanted to share with you, because I want you to just be aware of where your child might be in their writing. Keep in mind how hard they're working on their stories. Kindergartners are emergent writers. That's what we see typically at this time of year anyway. I mean, in the beginning, we may be seeing a lot more of the pre-literate, but as they advance through the year, we see a lot of them going into the stages that we call emergent, and then the transitional stages. These are stages that we hope that the kindergartners will be. Towards the end of the year, if you see down here where it says, "My cat is brown," this is at the end of the year. We see kids really being brave enough to get to this stage and being able to hear more sounds, and the writing might look like this. You'll notice even that there's some spacing in here. Now, it doesn't mean that all kindergartners need to be there at the end of the year by any means. We see many kindergartners that are telling their stories by showing the initial sounds of the words. Others are really using the environmental print around them and telling their story and writing those words that they know how to write. That's all good. It's all good, and we're really proud of them when we see this. This is what we call brave work, when they can do these sorts of things. Now, sometimes a young writer might not want to do the writing. He's just like, I don't want to, it's too hard. It's okay at that time to give them the writing. You can write it on another piece of paper so that they can copy it. You're building their confidence by doing that. And it's important that we build learners to be confident in their skills. So if that's what's helping them to be more comfortable as a writer, then please help them along. They don't have, if it's just a hard struggle, just give them what they're asking for at that point in time. Sometimes we hear you say, well, what are all these words that you refer to? Like snap words. We refer to snap words often, and you'll see us talking about that in our Zoom sessions. These are those high frequency words that we want the kindergartners to know. There's about 25 of them that we really focus on. They certainly learn more than that, but we hope that they're reading about 25 high frequency words. Now, those snap words, of course, are then used in their writing. We hope that they can spell them as well. So that's why we practice them over and over again many times. You hear us say things like stretch out the word when they're trying to spell, or stretch it out like a rubber band and then snap it back. You might hear us say stretch it out this way. You've seen teachers model different ways for the students to really practice hearing sounds and stretching them out. So we hope that you can adopt that language too, and maybe that will help with your learners as they become more brave. Math is another area, like we were saying as we went over the report card, that just focus on those numbers 1 to 20. We want the students to be really confident in those numbers, recognizing them, being able to write them, not just in order, but out of order. And the one-to-one correspondence is really important, so that as they are working with bigger numbers, they can count out the number. You know, let's say 6 might be a little easy for them to count out with Unifix cubes or with Legos, but if you ask them to get 14, have them count them and have them count them again to make sure that it really is indeed 14. That's all really good practice. Adding and subtracting to 10. That's what we want them to do in kindergarten. Now, I know there's a lot of eager beaver learners that are doing double-digit addition, and it's really amazing. It's not what we teach in kindergarten, and so don't worry that you have to go to that extent. That's what we want you to know. And lastly, let's just talk a little bit about reading, because reading, of course, has been highlighted a number of times through this talk, and it's the one that we just, it's so foundational to all learning, is to get that, to have that reading, not just the reading skills building, but the enjoyment of reading. So we always encourage you to read with them. We call the kindergartners in class super readers sometimes, because again, we're building up that confidence in them so that they feel like they are super and they have the power to do it. So if you hear language like, you know, you've got the use your power reading, or your power sounding out words, or use the picture power, we're just referring to ways that the readers can, the early readers can be using some skills that we've taught them so that they can also begin to do their own sounding out and reading. Encourage them along the way, and we really hope that, I hope that some of these hints have helped cleared up a few of your questions. And I'm going to hand it over to Miss Annie now.
All right. So I'm going to be talking about looking ahead to first grade. And you may not know that several of us have taught first grade and grades above that. So we know some things about it, but we also went to the experts at Cornell School to talk to them about what they expect in first grade. And let me say that I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I could tell you exactly what's going to be happening in the future in the fall. But unfortunately, none of us knows that. We all want to know it, but we're not quite there yet. But please do know that your child is going to go to first grade. We will be back together, and your child's going to be ready. We're working hard, and you're working hard to make sure. So push that away, that worry away. They are really going to be ready. When we met with the first grade team, they did have a few specific academic expectations that they're hoping kids have met by the time they come to first grade. And as a team, we feel pretty confident that they have. But here are the specific things that they said. In terms of language arts, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, they really hope that all the kids know the letters, both being able to read, recognize, and write uppercase letters and lowercase letters, and to know all those sounds, that sound power that Ms. Jomi was talking about. They hope that they can read and write the snap words, those high frequency words, and those CVC words that Ms. April was talking about, those 3-letter words that start with a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant, dog and net and cup and words like that. They hope that they are able to produce their own writing, especially with pictures, detailed pictures, and begin to have to write simple sentences to accompany those ideas and those stories and those how-to books and all of those things. And they're there. Everybody is able to do a lot of those things. So that's something that we're continuing to work on and that you'll continue to work on. In math, the first grade team says that they want kids to be able to recognize those numbers 1 to 20, write those numbers 1 to 20, count to 100 by tens, count to 100 by ones, see patterns, do some simple addition and subtraction between 1 and 10, and have some knowledge of 3D shapes. Now, I know that I've repeated a lot of what April and Joni were saying, and that's because we all share the same expectations, but those are the main things that the first grade teachers were highlighting. And we're telling you that because we want you to sigh, a big sigh of relief, because they're there and they're really, all kids are progressing in that way. The biggest concern that the first grade team had are the social and emotional impacts of school closure. All of us are doing whatever we can remotely to teach kids, but there are so many things that we can't replicate in a Zoom meeting, so many aspects of school or in a website. And those are the interactive, daily social interactions that kids have at school. And there's no way for us to do that right now. And I'm talking about things like friendships and a sense of belonging and community, getting along, and following what we call at Cornell the 4 Bs. Be respectful, be responsible, be safe, and be kind. But do know that kindergartners have already gotten a very solid foundation in all of these skills. And when we go back in the fall, the first grade team is going to begin with those things. They're really going to begin with helping kids with reentry, helping kids feel safe and secure, reestablishing those friendships, reestablishing those connections with adults, making sure that they feel like their classroom and their school is a safe place where they're meant to be. And really, without that social emotional grounding in first grade, they're not going to be able to jump into the academics. So that's going to be a really primary focus for first grade, but for our whole school. So you're probably wondering, well, now what do I do? There are some things and some ideas that we have for you that can help kids to reach those expectations and to be ready to go back in the fall. You may have noticed that kindergartners have some big feelings. I have some big feelings too. You might be having some big feelings also. But you can remind kids of what the very wise Miss Prain always says, that feelings come and feelings go. Emotions and feelings are a really natural part of human development. And every day we all have feelings. And it's important that kids have the ability to name those feelings. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling anxious. You can help them labeling those emotions, and that will help them to normalize those emotions and to deal with them. And also just by giving space for kids to have big feelings. They're going to have them right now. They have them all the time anyway, but especially when things feel sort of uncertain for all of us. And in my house, my mantra was always, my kids' feelings are not my feelings. I don't have to feel whatever they're feeling. I can empathize with it. I can talk through with them, but I don't necessarily have to take them on when they're having their big feelings. I can let them be there, and that's okay. Another thing that you can work on is solving conflicts with words. Again, in my house, we have some conflicts sometimes. Maybe you don't, but I bet once in a while you do. But really helping kids talk through them and seeing conflict as a normal part of life and as a part of life that can be solved. And we can always fix something up and clean it up and make us feel a little bit better by talking things through. And conflict, is an opportunity for learning like anything else. We talked about, Ms. Melanie was talking about establishing a schedule and routines. And again, I just can't emphasize enough that makes kids feel really secure and confident if they know what to expect. I forget who it was probably April, talked about independence. And I know from being a mom that it's sometimes easier to just put your kids' laundry away or clean up their toys for them. But try to resist that temptation, because kindergartners can do so many things. And if we let them, then they feel that sense of agency and they feel that sense of responsibility and confidence. And that will really help in first grade. That was something that the team brought up to us more than once, that they want kids to be able to do a lot of things themselves. When they go into a classroom, there are 20, 25 kids in a classroom, and the teacher can't be hanging up their backpack or getting out their notebook for them or telling them where to go. They have to be able to do those things independently. So that's something that you can foster right now. And then the last thing that we try to do in our Zoom meetings and try to do in our small groups and things is finding connections with other people outside your home. And of course, that's one of the hardest things for all of us right now. But anything that you can do, take a walk around the block, go for a little bike ride, FaceTime with grandparents, have virtual play dates, anything that you can do to maintain those social connections is really gonna pay off in the fall when we all do get back together. And things are hard right now, and we all really recognize that, but there are things to gain, and there are even things to gain that we can't provide at school that can only really happen now. Like, this is the time to get to know your child in another way, to sort of live in the rhythm of a 5 or 6 year old. And while it's not always easy and not always possible, try to enjoy the gifts of spending time together. Cook something together, plant a seed together, play games, tell some jokes, laugh, read together, build together, and just try to enjoy being in this new way. It's hard, but I know that there's a lot of beauty to be had as well. So if you've come to the end of this video and you're watching me right now, good for you. This has been a lot, but we really, really appreciate your watching and listening. And just know that this will all end and we all will be back together again. And in the meantime, we really miss you, and we really, really miss your wonderful children. So thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.